Hey, let me get my equipment together, but welcome. All right, beautiful people. It is the big day. You see, it's official because I drug out my blazer, which I haven't worn that often because I haven't left the house. I have two beautiful kids. I'm the primary caretaker. My wife is actually on the front line. She works in the medical industry, so she's been out there doing her thing, helping all of us be safe. But I've been at home with the boys for 11 months now. So the blazer doesn't come out that often unless it's keynotes or something special. And it's special because today is the launch day of Built From Now. Yay! Built From Now, how to know your power, see your abundance, and nourish the world. It is out today. I guess I should put that in the chat. It's out today, January 28th. Also the birthday of J. Cole, who's an excellent rapper. So it's nice to share a special day, birthday of my book with him, since he's doing some great work too on and off the record. Anyway, thank you for coming through. My name is Damon Brown of damonbrown.net. My main thing is helping you as a side hustler, as a solopreneur, any type of non-traditional entrepreneur, particularly if you're underserved, if you're overlooked, if you're underfunded. You're probably already familiar with some of my work, but my main thing is going through the startup process and helping other people through the startup process. I had success with my second startup that I bootstrapped called Cuddler. We made it really big, ended up selling it about a year after we started it. And that happened while I was a primary caretaker of my wife and I's first child. He was from 1 year old to 2 years old at the time. An amazing adventure that ended up becoming my first bestseller, The Bite-Sized Entrepreneur. There's a compilation of all the books in the trilogy. Y'all can check that out. I'll highlight it over here. Y'all can check that out, and I talk more about that particular part of the journey. Built From Now, though, is a continuation of the previous book, Bring Your Worth, which came out about 2 years ago, which talks about bringing your worth to the world and the challenges that come with trying to bring your worth to the world. That comes from us wanting to get acceptance and permission from other people before we start, us not understanding our own legacy, and us undervaluing ourselves and not realizing everything is a partnership. Built From Now actually takes that a step further and says, okay, you're a bite-sized entrepreneur, so you're able to create within the different arenas and build from quite literally build from now and create, you're able to become a bite-sized entrepreneur and work with the stuff you got. You know how to manage your time, how to be more productive, more of the service things, as we talk about old school journalism, more service. And then you're talking about bring your worth, where it's like, okay, well, now I know what my value is. I want to bring my value to the market, to the world. I want to make an impact. And it's like, well, how do I maximize resources that I have? So Built From Now is the first time, this is my 25th book, and this is the first time I'm actually creating a framework. And it's based on the 4 different resources that we all have: focus, agility, time, and energy. I call them the fates. So focus, agility, time, and energy. I have my blazer on, but I got the official shirt. You get that at damonbrown.net. And maximizing those things. If you're not sure as far as what your main resource is, I actually have a free quiz over at, take the free quiz, as it says, at builtfromnowquiz.com. That's builtfromnowquiz.com. It's free, it's short, it's like 3-4 multiple choice questions. I've heard it takes like 1-2 minutes for people to do. There's more questions if you want to ask them. So it's more, there's a more extensive one too if you go further. But for the shortest one, it's right there. And it'll give you the insights that you need to figure out what your main resource is right now, how you can maximize it and make the best of it. But if you want to grab the book, which is officially out now, that means it's shipping right now. Some of you already have it right now, and you're hitting me up on social media. If you want to grab me on social media, you can use the hashtag #BuildFromNow. And on all the social media, I'm at Brown Damon. I'm not on Facebook. I've written about that. So I'm not on Facebook. You can share it on there, but don't expect me to respond because I'm not on there. But on Twitter, on Instagram, even on TikTok, and on LinkedIn, I feel like I'm missing one. I think it's the major guys. Anyway, so that's what's going on. We actually have some fun stuff happening too on Instagram. I will loop back on that in a second. If you want to grab the book, if you're checking me out on Amazon, obviously the link is right there, so you can grab it through there. If you want to grab the audiobook, you can get it through Amazon, or you can go and get it at Audible. It's at bit.ly/build from now, all capitals. So build, all capital beginnings. So build from now, build from now. So bit.ly/build from now. Again, if you're active on here, you can just click on the link. Hopefully that makes it easier for you. Click through there, you'll go to my Audible page where I have all my Audible books. I've done an audiobook for every single book from my imprint. So that includes Bring Your Worth, as well as the collective Bites as Entrepreneur trilogy, as well as the individual books, if you want to pick and choose and just grab the original Bites as Entrepreneur, the Productive Bites as Entrepreneur, or the Balanced Bites as Entrepreneur. So you can grab it over at Audible. I really had a lot of fun with the audiobook on this one. And right over here, I have a proper setup. Maybe one of these days I'll show you guys my closet, what actually is proper. So it's even stronger than the previous audiobooks I've done. And it was great, especially since I haven't been on the road. I've been doing keynotes, but it's been literally from the position that I'm talking to you right now. So it was nice to get in the booth and really connect with y'all, at least verbally. Then you can get it on Amazon. Again, if you're watching on Amazon Live, you just click the link. And then you can click this link if you're watching elsewhere on my YouTube channel, etc. So you can do that. If you're about Apple Books, or if you want to get the Apple audiobook, they're all together at bit.ly/Damon Apple Books. You can check it out there and see what's up with that. If you're into the indie bookstores, which I always shout them out because I've lived all across the country, and I have favorite indie bookstores in the country, and actually a few that are overseas. Hot stuff. Support your indie bookstores. I'm actually an independent publisher. I own my own imprint called Bring Your Worth. So you're supporting me and you're supporting independent bookstores. They can actually help you find it locally, and the local folks can ship it to you if you're worried about sheltering in place, which I totally respect. Finally, if you want to come through, get the signed paperback from me, I will ship it to you with my little hands. Happy to do that. There's also a gift set, which the gift set is essentially a box set of all 3 books. So the trilogy of the trilogy. So the original Bites as Entrepreneur, or the Bites as Entrepreneur trilogy, Bring Your Worth, and then the new one out today, Build From Now. You can grab all of those in a box set, get them signed at a special price. Come through to my website. You can get the merch as far as the t-shirt. Some of you are already copping the t-shirts and wearing them, which is freaking me out in a great way. And then you can also get the old school Bring Your Worth mugs, which we still have a few. I promise this is water. We still have a few of those. So come on through to damonbrown.net and check it out. Also, I have a special gift for people who pre-order. I'm actually going to be generous today. And for the rest of the day, if you end up ordering the book through my website, you'll get the special gift too. That definitely ends at midnight though. Oh, the pre-order thing was supposed to end, obviously, midnight last night because the book is out. But I'm happy to extend it for y'all because I really want to make sure you guys get the book and that you're served in the right way. I think that's the main stuff. We have I'm being absent-minded. I'm geeking out so much that I'm forgetting. My launch party, it is being sponsored by Costco. If you don't know, I write regularly for Costco Connections. It's, I think, the 14th biggest circulation magazine in America. A lot of people don't know that, but it goes to every single person who's a Costco member. So if you're a Costco member, if you've gotten that magazine, you probably see my face in there. And hopefully I've read some of my words. I have a business column in there that runs once or twice a year. And I'm talking with them, and they're interested in the book. So we're actually going to work together on this. 3 p.m. today. Today's launch day. 3 p.m. today. 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trying to point over there. Pacific Standard Time. Come through to my Instagram. And actually Costco's Instagram, I'm sorry. At instagram.com/Costco. Or if you're using Instagram, just look up Costco. They have a bunch of followers. We're all going to be having a conversation led by me about how to work from home with kids. If you've been following my stuff at all, you know this has been my life for 8 years. In fact, that's what started me on this journey and connecting with y'all, even writing the books. From my ink column, which inspired the books, to the keynotes, even to the coaching sessions that you can learn about at damonbrown.net, and even Bring Your Worth TV, which this is a part of, that airs over at YouTube at put that over there at youtube.com/BrownDamon. I'll go and throw it up there after I finish my point. It's really about creating a space within a space. So respecting your family, whether your needs are the little kids, which have 2 kids, 7 and under, or you might have older relatives or people that need you, people that are dependents. How can you do amazing stuff within that context? That's literally what Built From Now is about. In fact, that's what all 3 books are about. 7 if you count all of them, but specifically with Build From Now and with the compilation of the Bite-Sized Entrepreneur, as well as Bring Your Worth. That's the discussion. How can you create in any atmosphere while still respecting the life that you already have? Because I'm assuming you have a life. A lot of people don't assume that. I lived in Silicon Valley. People assumed that you were just going to have your business be your life. That's not a healthy way to go. Whether you're really young or if you're getting older like myself, you need to have some type of balance in your life. Your life can't just be you making impact in the world. Because the people that you're trying to make an impact, the people that you're trying to make the world better for, they can't be neglected while you're trying to make the world better. Chew on that. We're going to be talking about that. Costco, Instagram, at Instagram.com/Costco. It's going to be from 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. if you're over on the East Coast. I'm going to be taking it over, and I'm going to be on the Instagram Live. So if you go to Costco, you go to their thing, and you'll see the little button flashing where their profile is, and it'll say live. You'll see me on there, and I'll be saying hi to y'all. I'll be giving some of my best tips from working from home with kids. I'll be suggesting some good products that might be able to help you on that. And of course, we'll be celebrating Build From Now. Yeah, great stuff. Lastly, if you want to come through to my YouTube channel, it's at youtube.com/BrownDamon, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every single day. You're going to be getting a new video from me live sometimes, as it is usually every Wednesday. And come through. It's like 5-10 minutes, little gem and little nuggets for your day. And if you're curious about the book, Inc. Magazine, who I've had a column with for the past 5-6 years, they ran an exclusive excerpt, which I am grateful for. So shout out to all the great editors over there for giving me a platform and having this deep discussion about how we can make things more equitable and build from now. You can check out my column and the excerpt at incdamonbrown.com. All right. So what I wanted to do is read a brief excerpt from Build From Now so you know what's going on with that. So almost like a live reading, and also give a little bit of insight into what went into Build From Now, because I think people are always curious about that. How do you write a 30,000 word book during a pandemic, with 2 little kids? It's not easy, but it might give you some insight into how you can create your own process. So let me go ahead and give one really big insight that I think might help, is to do things in increments and in pieces. If you end up doing things in bite-sized pieces, hence it being called The Bite-Sized Entrepreneur, my first major book, first major business book. If you do things in bite-sized pieces, then you're able to move forward. One of the major highlights, I guess, and Build From Now actually came from a short essay. It's probably like 1,000-word, 700-word essay. So that's relatively short for writers. 700-word essay that I had written, and then ended up getting published for publication called the Creative Nonfiction Podcast. In fact, I'll throw up the link right now. Ran by Brendan O'Mara. Shout out to Brendan. He's been super supportive on this journey, and I love the work that he's doing with his podcast. But with CNF Pod, as it's called, I ended up working with them, and an excerpt, this essay, ended up getting released in their first major audio publication. I call it an audio magazine. I was trying to remember the name of it. Called an audio magazine. And so the essay ran in there. It was great. It was a lot of fun, and I so appreciated them supporting me that way. I'm not going to grab a link to the essay because that would take a little bit of work. I was not prepared for this, but I will go ahead and link to the original tweet where he's talking about Build From Now, and also has links to his own work. But it began as an essay. And I literally wrote the essay, as Brendan will tell you. I wrote the essay, which was about me taking care of my kids and the stress and the resentfulness, but also the bittersweet view of them growing up. I wrote that while my youngest was asleep in the car. and I couldn't leave the car. And I think I had to go to the bathroom. I had to eat. It was some urgency where I wanted to go, and I couldn't because he was asleep. And I didn't want him to be awoken. If you're a parent or a guardian, you know you don't want to wake up your kid. And so I wrote an essay on the spot on my iPhone. And this was before I was even working on Build From Now and becoming a major tenant of it. And so it's so important to work with what you have, which at the time I had an iPhone, to think about what you got, which is at that moment I had time because my kid, hey baby, speaking of, yeah. No, honey, you just had dinner. You just had lunch. Can you close the door? We are, as I said to someone else, we are a very food forward family. So I'm not surprised that we literally just ate lunch and my kid's asking for a snack. But that's what I mean by Build From Now. And so you'll when you read Build From Now, or if you read the excerpt that ended up running in Brendan's Creative Nonfiction Podcast magazine, I think it just went live about 3 months ago. Again, if you look at his Twitter, which is status right here, CNF Pod, shout out to Brendan. Or when you read the book, and you'll know what I'm talking about because I was living what I was writing about. So that's what I mean by Build From Now, working with the resources that you got. That's how this 30,000 word book got made. 1,000 words at a time. Isn't that how it always works, right?
Something confused me.
Alec, honey.
I've got yellow ring on Saturday.
Baby, I'm in the middle of a TV show. Can you close the door?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and you don't need to bring your computer up here because you're in class. As I said, I'm on this journey with y'all. So I'm talking, when I'm talking about the strategies, I am walking with you. No matter what you're going through, I'm walking with you. So anyway, all I'm saying is that work in small pieces and you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. Alec Vasant Brown, sweetheart, why are you opening the door?
Because
baby,
I just wanted that in the song video was a lot of it, including, it's still from the piano guide, but a bit different. A musical, like.
Can you close the door?
What?
Woo, even on launch day, this is a continuous process. Build From Now talks about that, where there is no real time off. And so if you're waiting for a special space where you're like, I'm going to carve out this time to do this, life doesn't quite work like that. And you have to work within the stuff you're allotted. That includes your resources. You're working with what you got. I am for sure working with what I got. Hopefully I can finish a sentence with y'all without them barging in again. But we're all working with what we have. As I say briefly in the talk that we had yesterday, as well as in other conversations, all the work that I've done, this is my 25th book. It's never been done in like a bubble. You know, I did 2 books while I was about to get married, and throwing a wedding is a big deal, right? I did another book, you know, shortly after our youngest was born. Like that's when the Bites as Entrepreneur came out, where we had a toddler and a baby. The book ended up becoming a bestseller. Imagine if I didn't find the resources or work with the resources that I have. Let's be specific. Imagine if I didn't work with the resources that I have and, make that happen. You know, so I think it's difficult when we weren't waiting for that perfect opportunity. I've done entire TED Talks about this. So feel free to check out, actually, I'll throw that up. My YouTube channel, all of it's on there, youtube.com/BrownDamon. Subscribe. I come through every day at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, but it's also plenty of stuff on there that you can go deeper on. All right, so let me go and get into the book excerpt. Yeah, it's out today. Yay! I'm gonna keep saying it because it's great. All right, Build From Now, a brief excerpt. This is from the book is split into 2. So the first half is called an outside job. The second half is called an inside job. Outside has to do with the systems around us. Inside has to do with the systems within us. I don't think I've ever been that articulate about it. So it sounds like this book is ready for you guys. All right. So we're going to go ahead and do a super brief excerpt. I think it's like maybe be 7 minutes. And it's called The Low End of the Soup Bowl. The very serious function of racism is distraction. It keeps you from doing your work. It keeps you explaining over and over again your reason for being. Toni Morrison. The low end of the soup bowl. Your 24 hours a day are not the same as mine. There are headwinds that push against us. They are invisible, pervasive, and constant, like air. They wrap around us and try to hold us tight. They want our resources. They want our strength. They want to keep us where we are. The headwinds are as man-made as Hurricane Katrina. The storm was happenstance. The slipshod levee system is what created the damage. The barriers were made for cheap to better line government pockets. They were considered less consequential because the breach threatened poor minority communities the most. Leadership already knew about the levee danger while I lived in my New Orleans apartment, as I biked through the nearby beautiful Ninth Ward, eating, drinking, and bonding with the local artist community who happened to have been there since Napoleon's troops stomped through. This systemic neglect was a conscious choice. Certain people and their culturally rich resources held less value than other neighborhoods and their populations. Therefore, they were starved of additional resources, such as peace of mind. It remains expensive to be poor. As I lived there in the year leading up to Katrina, literally everyone I met damn well knew they were in danger. We were in a soup bowl, they tell me again and again. The French Quarter loomed as a raised lump in the middle. The upper crust garden district stood protected too. The rest was fucked. How much extra effort does it take to do, well, anything, if you know you're already fucked? Nature designed New Orleans. Systemic choices designed the headwinds. Not all headwinds are some natural phenomenon. Women are not born inferior leaders. In fact, New Zealand, Germany, and a handful of women-led countries showed amazing grace and guidance and smart containment during the 2020 coronavirus pandemic. Minorities are not naturally less educated either. Recent studies show diverse C-suite leadership means better profits for business. And LGBTQ people are not culturally unsound. Non-heteronormative-led family households create an environment as stable as, and often even more stable, than heteronormative-led homes. Remember the oft-cited high American divorce rate was established well before gay marriage was even legal. That's on straight people. These headwinds are formed by prejudice, guided with malice, and protected and maintained by systems. In Silicon Valley, they call it pattern matching. Walk into a venture capitalist investor's office looking like a young, straight white male, both cocky and antisocial, wearing a well-worn hoodie and ripped jeans, and freshly dropped out of an Ivy League school. As such, you look like you're cut from the same cloth as Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, or the late patron saint of Silicon Valley, Steve Jobs. You don't need to keep explaining your reason for being. You don't need to allocate your precious resources to proving why you belong in the room. You can just walk in and just be the best at what you do. You just walk in the room, and that's enough. I founded my first startup in 2014 in San Diego, shortly after living as a tech journalist and author in Silicon Valley. It's not an exaggeration to say that I was 1 degree away from all the active Black founders in San Francisco. This culture was small and rich. We meet informally every Wednesday at our favorite watering hole. My friends, colleagues, and I will meet to share stories, support each other, and see potential collaborations in the future. Since then, the number of Black founders has grown considerably. Still, though, we get less than 2% of Silicon Valley investment. And that's right now, not 10 years ago. Today, they'll call it cultural fit. You don't match the pattern of those of us already in the room. So we do not trust the worth you bring to the table. You don't seem to culturally identify with what we've experienced. So we do not see the value in your contribution. The pendulum swings from explaining your reason for being to proving you actually belong in the room beyond the scope of others' limited view of you. If you don't match the pattern, if you don't fit the culture, then you are paying a resource tax. It is invisible, pervasive, and constant, like air. When I say I bootstrapped my 2 startups, building them from scratch with no outside investment, and sold the second one at a profit, it means something different as a 30-something African-American stay-at-home dad with 2 college degrees. I paid and still pay my resource tax, a cut straight off the top, like FICA or Social Security, before I even show up. It is remaining focused as people who look just like me are killed in front of their children on camera. Their soul trapped eternally in a hashtag. It is adapting to the opportunities for myself and people like me, watching them narrow with an increasingly corrupt system. It is maximizing time as I untie emotional trauma passed down from generation to generation. You see them behind me. Cleansing my soul of the unconscious bias to not cap my own 2 Black and brown sons. It is finding energy as I fight against what others believe are my limitations simply because of who I culturally am. Chances are your 24 hours of the day are not the same as mine. There's also why believing you can accomplish as much in 24 hours as any said celebrity will corrode you like rust. Rust cannot begin on the outside. Rust always starts on the inside. The crack in your own worth lets the productivity virus in. The compare and contrast will drive you into the ground. Where our resources need to go matters as much as how many resources we need. It is pure mathematics. Making 100,000 annually will be enough for the comfortable life the average American household brings in around 60,000. What if you live in San Francisco, where when I was there in the late aughts, I paid 4 figures for a tiny studio? Or if you're plowing through hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, where the interest alone would be your monthly take-home pay? Or if you had family, friends, and loved ones dependent on your paycheck because of systemic circumstances beyond their and your immediate control. Money is the most tangible example. But of course, I'm not really talking about money. I'm talking about weight. There's a mental, physical, and emotional weight we carry when we face an undiagnosed health issue, when we feel guilt for taking a sorely needed break because of required responsibilities, and when we struggle with not reaching our potential because of our seemingly too limited resources. But to give yourself grace, you first have to recognize the battle. Systemic oppression hums along in the background like an air conditioner. It is on when you enter the room, and after an almost imperceptible adjustment, it's buzzing in the background, and it becomes a norm. Now imagine you are born in an air-conditioned room. You fight to block out the noise. You work twice as hard to progress half as far. You don't see this resource tax. You just get used to paying it. But what if the air conditioner suddenly turns off, as it did for all of us in March 2020? We realize how loud we have been talking just to be heard, how distracting the noise has been to our focus, and how much long-term planning we gave away just to get through the day. As I make my suffering conscious, less is passed on to others, says spiritualist Channing Nicholas. As I come to understand what was personal, what was systemic, and what was familial, I get closer to the truth. I am more than what hurts, but I am not above being taught by the process of pain relief. We're angry at 2020, not because it was a bad year, but because it has woken many of us from a long slumber. We realize how autocratic our democracy can really be. We realize the systems will automatically continue to chew up and spit out Black and brown lives, even as we sleep peacefully in our own homes. We realize how quickly our financial security can be shredded to pieces, as if we're sitting in the low end of a soup bowl. We realize how long we've been fighting upstream every day, but the river isn't directed by nature, but by man, which means we can change it. Thank you. Hold on 1 second for a child break. Yes, what do you guys need?
Oh, what I want to tell is that early in the look there's also gonna be some Lego up, and it has music. So Miss Session told us to pay attention to the music.
Okay.
And Daddy,
Thank you.
Also,
Okay, great.
One day I discovered that now ABC Mouse is in all square and some of them are rectangles.
Great. Thank you, guys. Can you close the door so I can finish my session?
Later.
All right, no, don't close it on your brother. Thank you. And can you keep it down just a little bit? Mm-hmm. This is like a real book reading. They just gave me so much joy because I don't know if you've been on the road. I can't. This is my 25th book, so I'm approaching road warrior status when it comes to book readings. That's exactly what a book reading feels like. So if you're an artist, if you're a creator, any type of thing, and you're doing something in a public forum, it might be my kids, it might be someone who's on a cell phone call in the back, but that felt real as hell. So thank you to my boys. It actually almost got me in tears because it felt so good. So that's an excerpt from Built From Now. Again, that chapter is called The Low End of the Soup Bowl. There's a much more abbreviated, because I had to print a shorter version of that chapter available on Ink live today. Again, thanks y'all over at Ink for supporting me over the years. They were there since the Bites as Entrepreneur, in fact, before then, and they've been wonderful to have the freedom and to do my column with them. You can check it out at inkdamonbrown.com. Really good stuff. And later on today, just to remind y'all, 3 p.m., we got the party. Costco's Instagram at COSTCO. Now I can't spell it, even though I'm there every week. Costco, go on your Instagram or click on the link right there if you want to join through a website or whatever, if you're checking on your computer. Come through, say hi. We'll be talking about, obviously, Build From Now, and we'll also be talking about how to work from home with kids. Man, talk about a great example there of what that process is like now for all of us. I'm used to that after 8 years, but all of us are kind of in that same boat. But thank you so much for supporting the book. If you want to get more insight into how to make the best of your resources, I have a free quiz. It's based obviously on Built From Now. It's at builtfromnowquiz.com. Check it out. I hope you enjoy it. That's what's happening. If you go to builtfromnowquiz.com, you also be able to get on my newsletter list at joindamon.me. I think you might see it on the links somewhere on here, depending on where you're seeing the streaming. But joindamon.me, you can go directly there if you want to and sign up. It's a weekly newsletter, comes out every Wednesday at 5:55 a.m. West Coast time. You'll get in your mailbox every morning. It gets you, or every Wednesday morning, it will get you started. And it'll get you more insights like what I'm talking about, how to break up your day, how to do creative things within restrictive situations. I have a very stoic approach to it, for lack of a better term, because I think we're always in restrictive situations. There's no such thing as infinite focus, infinite agility, infinite time, or infinite energy, the resources I talk about and Built From Now. And so that's the perspective of it. I do not want you to wait for tomorrow. I don't want you to wait for your brilliant idea, your impact on the world, the thing that you know that you're here for, the thing that you need to roll out. I don't want you to wait until you have the perfect amount of time. And I don't know about you, but 2020 and going into 2021, let's be honest, is reinforcing that. We don't know when our time's going to be up. And we don't know when we're going to have more time, when we'll be able to focus more, when we'll have more agility, when we'll have more energy. I feel like that's a fool's errand to wait for things to be perfect. If I waited for things to be perfect, number one, I wouldn't be talking to you because I spent 5 minutes talking to my kids. And then you wouldn't have this book to buy, to grab, to read. You wouldn't have this quiz to take for free. You wouldn't have any of this if I waited for the perfect thing. And what a loss. And I don't mean me personally, like not being able to, like my voice is that powerful. It's just we all have those things that we know we should be doing. And a lot of us, I'm coaching some of y'all, a lot of us are waiting until this perfect moment. It's not going to happen. And if you learned anything over the past year, I hope you took that away from it. Folks waiting to travel, guess what? We can't travel now. Folks waiting to say hi to a loved one, including myself. I lost some loved ones last year. You know, it's making me emotional. I'm glad I said hi and took care of them and loved them while they were here. So if you got, I was already cursing earlier, so we might as well finish with that. If you got shit to do, get shit done. You'll see my favorite image. If you zoom in, right up there, my favorite sticker of all the TEDs that I regularly go to the TED conference, all the TEDs that I went to, that little sticker right there. I keep it with me. Doesn't mean you have to rush, doesn't mean you have to push yourself beyond your limits. What it means is that you build from now. If I was waiting to have the perfect book launch day and recording for y'all, then that would never happen. So again, thank you for riding with me on this journey. I'm still going to be here. So I'm going to be coming every Wednesday for the near future until I can see. Coming through, giving as many gems as possible, sharing my insights with y'all, maybe even have some guest appearances later on as I get the hang of this live streaming thing. Suddenly I feel like an old man because I'm still trying to figure it out. But if you're checking me out on my YouTube channel, be sure and subscribe. It's at youtube.com/BrownDamon. I'm not going to be live every day, but I will have a new episode every day, 11:30 a.m., the same time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Again, well into the future. I got stuff scheduled through going on February now. So if you want that gem every day, I am here. And of course, if you want to connect with me, oh my gosh, 3 hours from now, I better get ready. 3 hours from now, I'm doing a takeover of Costco's Instagram over at instagram.com/Costco. Get over there. You'll see the little live button flashing where their picture is. Click on that, come through, bring your questions, bring your comments, bring your support. We're celebrating Build From Now, the launch day, 1/28/21, and we're also celebrating all of us working from home and some of us working from home with kids. I will share my best tips, also talk about some products that I'm really into. And I think that's about it. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I actually have some kombucha chilling right now that I'm going to celebrate with later on today. I know a wild life. I'll kick out the stronger stuff later. But for right now, cheers to y'all for supporting me for these, what's it been, 12, 13 weeks of continuous episodes. So cheers to that. At minimum, come through to take your quiz. It is free. Sorry, I got a million chat things going on right there. At minimum, come through and take your quiz. It is free at buildfromnowquiz.com. Super quick. I really want y'all to take it because I want you to make an impact this year. Doesn't mean stress yourself out. Doesn't mean burnout. It means make an impact. And you could do these small things and make a tremendous impact. I want to help you on your journey. buildfromnowquiz.com. And the Build For Now book is available everywhere books are sold. The links are all up in here, so I'm going to stop flashing them through. But until next time, remember that you can always bring your worth and that you can always build from now. Take care.